Let me begin with a hard truth. If everyone has access to you, no one will honor you. Listen carefully. In the kingdom, value is never loud, and it is never cheap. Anything truly valuable is protected, restricted, and intentional. Gold is not lying on the street. Diamonds are not handed out casually. Yet many of you have made yourselves available without order. You answer every call. You solve every problem. You show up every time, and then you wonder why you feel drained, overlooked, and underestimated. This is not humility. This is misalignment, because availability without purpose leads to abuse. And today, I want to correct how you see your time, your presence, and your worth, not from culture, but from kingdom principle. Let me start right here, because if you miss this, you will misunderstand everything else I am saying. Value is protected by boundaries. Anything that has worth is guarded, restricted, and managed. Nothing valuable is left open to unlimited access. That is not pride. That is principle. Think about this for a moment. Why does a bank have vaults? Why does a nation have borders? Why did God place cherubim at the entrance of Eden? No, not because access is evil, but because value must be protected. In the kingdom, boundaries are not walls of fear. They are systems of order. Listen carefully. Many people believe boundaries mean rejection. No, boundaries mean recognition of worth. If I allow everything and everyone unlimited access to me, I am declaring that what I carry has no weight, and whatever has no weight will never be honored. Scripture teaches this clearly. Even in the temple, there were courts. Everyone could not go everywhere, not because God loved some people more, but because order preserves glory. The Holy of Holies was not open all day. Access was limited, timed, and purposeful. Why? Because presence without boundaries becomes familiar, and familiarity always kills reverence. Now let me bring this home. Some of you answer every call, respond to every message, show up for every crisis, and then you complain that people do not respect you. But respect does not come from availability. Respect comes from order. When people know you have no boundaries, they will keep taking, not because they are evil, but because systems respond to permission. Let me say this slowly. You teach people how to treat you by what you tolerate. If you never protect your time, your energy, your focus, or your gift, you are training others to misuse it, and then you blame them for doing what you allowed. In the kingdom, even Jesus withdrew. He did not heal everyone at once. He did not answer every question. He did not attend every request. Why? Because purpose governed his availability. If the Son of God understood the power of boundaries, who are you to believe you can live without them? Real value is never noisy. It does not announce itself. It is quiet, stable, and guarded. Gold does not chase people. People search for gold. Diamonds are not advertised on the street. They are discovered by those willing to dig. When you remove boundaries, you remove the search. When you remove the search, you remove appreciation. Ask yourself this question honestly. Do people honor your presence, or do they assume it? Do they prepare for you, or do they casually summon you? The answer will reveal whether you have established value or only availability. Boundaries are not about controlling people. They are about stewarding assignment. When I say no to distractions, I am saying yes to purpose. When I limit access, I am not being selfish. I am being responsible. The kingdom does not reward exhaustion. It rewards obedience. Let me end this part with this. If you want your value to rise, your boundaries must rise first. Decide what deserves access. Decide what is sacred. Decide what is not negotiable. Because until you protect what you carry, people will keep handling it as if it is common. I need you to hear this with clarity. I do not exist to be available. I exist to fulfill assignment. Access in the kingdom is never random. It is always governed by purpose. When purpose is clear, access becomes selective. When purpose is ignored, access becomes chaotic. Let me explain this. Every product is designed with an intended function. A microphone is not given to everyone in the room. It is handed to the one assigned to speak, not because others are unimportant, but because order protects function. In the same way, Your life was not designed for unlimited access. It was designed for intentional impact. Listen carefully. The greatest mistake people make is allowing demand to replace assignment. Just because someone needs you does not mean you are assigned to them. Need is loud, purpose is precise. If you respond to every need, you will eventually abandon your assignment. Scripture reveals this principle repeatedly. Jesus was constantly surrounded by people who needed him, sick bodies, broken minds, urgent requests, yet he did not stop for everyone. At times, he walked away from crowds. At times, he delayed responses. At times, he said no through silence. Why? Because his access was governed by purpose, not pressure. This is where many people struggle. You feel guilty when you limit access. You think love requires constant availability. But love without order leads to burnout, resentment, and loss of direction. Even God operates by purpose. There were moments he spoke, and moments he remained silent. There were seasons of manifestation and seasons of preparation. Purpose always decided timing and access. Let me make this practical. When you wake up each day, your question should not be, who needs me today? Your question should be, what is my assignment today? When you let purpose lead, your yes becomes powerful and your no becomes necessary. Without purpose, your yes becomes cheap and your no becomes confusing. Think about this. A doctor does not perform surgery in the hallway. Access to the operating room is restricted. Why? Because the assignment is critical. The more important the purpose, the stricter the access. So if your life feels constantly interrupted, maybe it is not because people are inconsiderate. Maybe it is because you never clarified your assignment. Purpose also protects your energy. Energy is a resource, not a feeling. When you spend it without direction, you waste it. The kingdom teaches stewardship. You are accountable for how you invest your time, your strength, your focus, and your gift. When you allow unlimited access, you are mismanaging kingdom resources. Let me challenge you, who currently has access to you that does not align with your assignment? Which conversations drain you but produce nothing? Which commitments keep you busy but not effective? These are not innocent questions. They determine whether you will finish your course or merely stay occupied. Purpose brings courage to restrict access. When I know why I am here, I am no longer afraid to disappoint people. I would rather disappoint expectations than betray assignment. Because at the end, I will not be judged by how available I was. I will be judged by how faithful I was to what I was sent to do. Access must submit to purpose. Relationships must submit to assignment. Invitations must submit to calling. If it does not serve the purpose, it does not deserve the access. So decide today. Let purpose sit on the throne. Let access bow to it. When purpose determines who reaches you, your life stops being busy and starts being effective. I want to confront a misunderstanding that is quietly destroying many lives. Constant availability does not build honor. It builds dependence. And dependence is not respect. Respect is born when people recognize value, order, and responsibility. Dependence is born when people learn they can lean on you without effort, growth, or accountability. Listen carefully. When you are always available, you train people to rely on you instead of developing themselves. You become a substitute for their discipline, their decision-making, and sometimes even their obedience. That may feel like importance, but it is actually misuse. Think about this. Parents who do everything for their children do not raise strong adults. They raise dependent adults. Why? Because strength is developed through responsibility, not rescue. In the same way, when you constantly show up to fix, explain, cover, and save, you are not empowering people. You are disabling them. Scripture teaches this principle clearly. There were moments when Jesus refused to intervene immediately. He let storms rage. He let questions linger. He let hunger be felt. Why? Because growth requires pressure. If he had removed every discomfort, the disciples would never have developed faith, courage, or understanding. Constant availability would have robbed them of maturity. Listen to this closely. People respect what they have to prepare for. They take seriously what they must wait for. When access to you requires no effort, no timing, and no alignment, your presence becomes casual. And whatever is casual is never honored. Let me make this practical. Some of you are the first call for every problem. Not because you are the only solution, but because you never say no. And now people bypass their own responsibility and come straight to you. That is not leadership. That is overexposure. In the kingdom, leaders do not create followers who cannot function without them. Leaders create stewards who can govern themselves. Moses learned this the hard way. When he tried to solve every issue personally, he burned out. Wisdom taught him to delegate, limit access, and establish order. The people did not lose respect for him. They gained stability. Constant availability also confuses roles. You become things you were never assigned to be. Counselor, rescuer, mediator, provider, motivator. And slowly, you drift away from your actual assignment. The enemy of purpose is not always sin. Sometimes it is unnecessary responsibility. Ask yourself this question honestly. Do people come to me because they value my insight or because they're avoiding their own growth? That answer will reveal whether you are building respect or enabling dependence. Respect grows when people know your time is intentional, when they know they must come prepared, when they know access to you is purposeful, not casual. In the kingdom, even priests served on schedules. Not everyone ministered at the same time. Order preserved reverence. Let me say this plainly. People do not respect what is always present. They respect what is consistent, reliable, and governed by principle. The sun does not appear on demand, yet everyone depends on it. Why? Because it operates by order, not request. If you remove access occasionally, people will discover their own capacity. They will pray instead of calling you. They will think instead of depending on you. They will grow instead of leaning on you. And that is not abandonment. That is leadership. You must decide whether you want to be needed or respected. Being needed feels good short term. Being respected produces long-term impact. The kingdom does not reward you for how many people depend on you. It rewards you for how many people you empower. So reduce your availability, not your love. Limit access, not compassion. Step back so others can step up. Because when constant availability ends, real respect finally begins. This principle may sound uncomfortable, but it is unchangeable. Scarcity increases perceived worth, not manipulation, not pride. Principle. In the kingdom, value rises when access is intentional. When something is always present, always available, always reachable, the human mind unconsciously treats it as common. And whatever becomes common loses honor. Think for a moment. Air is essential, yet rarely appreciated. Gold is limited and therefore treasured. Water is priceless, yet we waste it because it flows freely. Scarcity does not create value, it reveals it. And when you remove scarcity from your life, people stop recognizing the weight of what you carry. Listen carefully. God himself operates by scarcity. He does not reveal everything at once. He gives daily bread, not monthly supply. He appoints seasons, not constant harvests. Even revelation comes line upon line, not all at once. Why? Because unrestricted access dulls appreciation. In Scripture, access to holy things was limited. Certain garments were worn only at certain times. Certain places were entered only by certain people. Certain words were spoken only in season. This was not exclusion. It was preservation of reverence. When access is rare, preparation increases. When preparation increases, honor follows. Now let me bring this to everyday life. When you are always available, people do not prepare to meet you. They call casually. They arrive late. They cancel without concern. Not because they dislike you, but because scarcity has been removed. Your presence no longer requires intention. Consider this. A leader who is always accessible is often ignored. A leader whose time is limited is respected, not feared. Respected. Scarcity forces people to value moments. It sharpens focus. It eliminates waste. Many people confuse scarcity with arrogance. They think limiting access means thinking too highly of oneself. No. Scarcity is about stewardship, not ego. If you carry something valuable, you are responsible for protecting it. If you give it away carelessly, you are not humble. You are negligent. In the kingdom, honor follows order. When there is no order, honor leaks away. That is why Jesus did not heal in every city. That is why he did not answer every question. That is why he sometimes spoke in parables. Scarcity was not denial, it was discernment. Ask yourself this question honestly. Do people prepare for time with you, or do they casually summon you? Do they listen closely when you speak, or do they assume you will repeat yourself again later? Their behavior is responding to the level of scarcity you have established. Scarcity also protects impact. When you speak less, your words carry more weight. When you show up selectively, your presence creates expectancy. When you say yes sparingly, your yes becomes powerful. But when you are always there, always talking, always responding, your influence fades into background noise. Let me say this plainly. Familiarity is the enemy of honor, and familiarity is born from overexposure. Even sacred things become ordinary when they are mishandled too often. This is why the kingdom teaches timing. There is a time to speak and a time to be silent, a time to show up and a time to withdraw. Scarcity forces people to grow. When you are not always present, others step into responsibility. They think, they plan, they develop strength. Your absence becomes a catalyst, not a loss. You must understand this. You are not meant to be constantly accessible. You are meant to be consistently impactful. Impact requires restraint. Influence requires intentional presence. So do not fear reducing access. Fear becoming so common that your presence no longer matters. Guard your time, guard your energy, guard your availability. Because when you allow scarcity to work, value naturally rises. Discipline is not punishment. Discipline is not restriction for the sake of control. Discipline is a declaration. It says, I value myself, I value my assignment. I will not allow my life to be handled carelessly. When you discipline your availability, your time, your attention, your presence, you are not being arrogant or distant. You are making a statement about your worth. You are saying that what you carry is not common. It is sacred. Listen carefully. Many people confuse discipline with selfishness. They think saying no is harsh. They think limiting access is unkind. But kingdom principle teaches the opposite. When you fail to govern yourself, you teach others that they can govern you. And when others govern you, your value disappears. You become reactive instead of proactive. You spend your life responding to demand instead of fulfilling purpose. Think about this for a moment. A farmer does not scatter seed indiscriminately. He plants with precision in carefully prepared soil at the right season. He waters, he guards, he prunes. If he gave seed everywhere, it would be wasted. If he watered indiscriminately, it would drown some plants. Discipline determines the harvest. In the same way, your presence, your energy, your time, these are seeds. Discipline determines the harvest of your life. Scripture teaches this repeatedly. The wise man built his house on rock carefully, deliberately, with structure. The foolish man built on sand, haphazardly, at the whim of circumstance. Discipline is the rock. It is the structure that preserves value. Without it, you expose yourself to erosion, to chaos, to misuse. Let me make this practical. How do you demonstrate discipline in your life? By saying no to unnecessary demands. By protecting your schedule. By refusing to be drawn into every crisis. By being deliberate about who receives your attention. By measuring your yes against your purpose, not your guilt, not your obligation, not your fear of missing out. Discipline also communicates expectation. People learn how to treat you by the standards you enforce. If you show up for everyone at any time without boundaries, they assume they can take advantage. But if you are disciplined, if you require preparation, respect, and alignment, then people will rise to meet your standard. They will honor your time. They will value your presence. That is respect born of discipline. I want to challenge you to reflect deeply. Are you bending to the pressure of demand? Or are you standing firm on the principles of purpose? Are you exhausting yourself for the sake of appearances? Or are you strategically investing yourself for impact? Discipline is not the absence of love. It is the manifestation of value. Even Jesus demonstrated this. He withdrew from crowds, he spoke at the right time, he rested in alignment with purpose. He disciplined his accessibility, not because he lacked compassion, but because he understood assignment. If he required discipline to protect his calling, how much more must we? When you discipline your life, you are not just controlling access, you are protecting impact. You are conserving strength for what matters most. You are making a declaration to the world. This life, this gift, this assignment, this presence is not common. It is kingdom. It is significant. It will not be handled carelessly. So decide today to govern yourself. Let discipline define your availability. Let it protect your purpose. Let it signal your worth. Because until you control yourself, others will control you. And until you declare your value, no one else will. Now I am calling you to act. Stop proving your worth by being available. Stop letting people handle your life carelessly. Decide today who will have access to you and on whose terms. Guard your time. Protect your energy. Prioritize your assignment. Say no when necessary. Withdraw when needed. Step back so purpose can lead, not pressure. Because your value is not in how busy you are, it is in how intentional you are. From this moment, let your presence be measured by purpose, not by demand. Let your yes carry weight and your no bring clarity. Discipline your life, establish boundaries, enforce order, and watch your influence and impact rise. Do not wait for others to respect you. Declare your worth by how you manage yourself. Today, start valuing yourself enough to be scarce, focused, and unshakably aligned with your purpose.